right, guys, welcome back to another video. We have some interesting things to discuss today, starting off here with Halo 7. I guess that could be the name of the next Halo or whatever they decide to call it, plus other things we will get into. But before we do continue, make sure to hit that subscribe button. If you like daily gaming news content, check out my Spotify. Link is in the description. Of course, hit the like button if you do enjoy the video. It helps send it out there and let YouTube know you guys are enjoying the content. So Halo 7, the next Halo, whatever comes after Halo Infinite, seems to be closer in reality than we think. I mean, Halo Infinite, people were saying before it launched, it was going to be like a 10-year game. It was going to be that main platform where they just continue to build Halo off of. And although I think Halo Infinite has the best gameplay in the entire Halo series, and it's a lot of fun, I enjoyed the campaign. Multiplayer is in a great space. They didn't work on any more single player DLC or single player content, which was disappointing. And you can kind of see that they are winding down that multiplayer by getting rid of the seasons and just coming out with operations. To me, that's signaling that we are coming to the end of the life for Halo Infinite, as they are going to be moving forward. There's also been those discussions about Halo moving over to a brand new engine, moving away from the Slipspace engine and going over to Unreal Engine 5, probably just because it's easier to develop in and you can get some great results out of that. And the next Halo, although we don't know when it's coming and exactly how they're going to continue from Halo Infinite, it looks like there is some interesting stuff going on there, and that there is a new lead designer that's put on the project. It says the next game in the Halo franchise has a new lead designer, first spotted by Rebs Gaming. 343 Industries has hired Dan Nayadi, or Natty, however you say it, as the new lead designer for Halo 7, or whatever they decide to call that game. And Nyadi previously worked as the lead designer on Hyenas at Creative Assembly. And if you remember Hyenas, that is a game that was actually pretty fun if you played the beta, but then they decided to scrap the project and not actually put it out, which was an interesting choice. I actually played Hyenas and I thought it was awesome. And it's unfortunate that they just decided not to do anything further with that. So they've gone ahead and hired him, and he also worked on both Destiny titles, and they say as well as various expansions for the games. And it says here, after speaking with a ton of cool teams about rad projects, I'm getting a shot to work with the chief and friends. I love Halo, and I'm very excited to be part of adding to its legacy. Now, Halo 7, or the next Halo in development by 343, it looks like it is going to be, like I said, using Unreal Engine based off of job postings that we have seen coming out, moving away from the Slipspace engine. So we will see here what happens with the future of the Halo franchise. I think it's still going to be a far ways out. They're going to let Halo Infinite still breathe a little bit, and they're going to want other major first-party games coming out from Xbox, because they have so many games that they can wait to put out the next Halo. Although if you're a huge Halo fan like I am, I do want to see what's next, specifically in the single player campaign. I think they could just do a lot with what they built with Halo Infinite, because I found the single player open world and it wasn't too big, it wasn't too insane, but the gameplay and everything they had within that was fun. They just needed more of it. They needed more biomes, they needed more enemies running around, they needed all of that, and that could have made an insanely great campaign, better than what it was, although I still think it was very good, and they can easily improve on that. And I thought DLC would have been able to do that, or just an expansion of the story in that universe. They could have done that. Unfortunately, they aren't going to do that, and maybe an Unreal Engine 5 that just makes it easier, and we will just see a lot more stuff within the single player side of the Halo universe. And of course, the multiplayer is going to be what they have to make sure that they launch with content upon content upon content, so that people do not fall off of it. But exciting times here. I'm a huge Halo fan. I can't wait to see what comes next with the next game in the franchise. Now, the next thing I want to talk about here is Xbox continuing to expand out their ecosystem. We saw them put Game Pass on the Amazon Fire Stick, and I think that's a very good and smart move, and it makes just more access to the Xbox ecosystem, which will then in turn lead to more people playing it, them being able to invest more in the subscription service, and us as gamers and consumers getting more games as they go out and get more third-party deals and obviously put out more first-party games. But one place you may not expect to see a custom UI and just be able to play your Game Pass subscription, it would be in a vehicle. But there is a really, really cool Xbox dashboard that was spotted in a Top Gear video, and it says Xbox could be offered in a new driverless taxi. You could see the UI in this video. I mean, this UI is extremely slick. I was thinking about this is something maybe they could transfer over into other form factors, maybe a handheld or something along those lines. It looks really cool here if you go through the video. Now, this could just be concept. It may not actually be the real thing, but it is spotted within this video. It says the dashboard appears for a couple of seconds in a video published last week, which offers the first look at a new robo-taxi created by Verne, a consortium part led by Bugatti CEO Mate Rimac, and the two-seater, which will include a 43-inch screen. That's insane, a huge screen in that car. Aims to emulate the feeling that you have in your own living room. And then within that video, you saw Game Pass, you saw that UI, and them just kind of demonstrating the screen itself. And this Xbox boss, Phil Spencer, recently appeared to all but confirm speculation that Microsoft is considering launching a handheld gaming device. And I mean, I think like this type of UI, what they showed here, the form factor, it's more of a landscape, like a wider, thinner screen. I mean, this will be perfect for a handheld. So that's what we need with the future of these major gaming handhelds, where you're playing all of the latest games, all the big AAA games, is a better experience, because Windows 11, just base Windows on your handheld, to me at least, is not cutting it, and they need to do something to improve upon that. People want that pick up and play when they're getting their gaming handheld. They don't want to have to go through all of the Windows stuff. That's the way I feel. At the very least, I know some people have to tinker and add all those things, and you can definitely still do that, but just a nice seamless gaming experience on a gaming handheld that has all of your Xbox Game Pass, has all of the games that you've purchased, and just has your entire profile and everything you've done within that ecosystem, will be very exciting. So that's pretty cool. I hope that is something that they've actually made, and this isn't just some sort of concept, because I thought it looked very sleek and very good. Now, there's still tons of ABK games that can be coming onto Xbox Game Pass, lots of backwards compatible games, and some of those games are Transformers games. And there are some great Transformers games that released on the Xbox 360. There's Transformers Devastation, which came out on the Xbox One. Phenomenal Transformers game. And it looks like we may be getting closer to that, as this was some screenshots that were put out. You can see the Transformers games showing up on the back end, and with that download to console button. And a tweet here saying the Activision Transformers games relisted. It has been observed that Activision Transformers games have been relisted on the Xbox stores and Steam. The games are not available for purchase, but the fact that the details are back up is very interesting. Will they be released? And I would guess here that they've been able to work out the licensing issues. They're back up on the store, and they are preparing for you to be able to play them via backwards compatibility, and then potentially via Xbox Game Pass, and be able to download them and everything, because I think that would be huge. People would love the Transformers IP. They would love to jump in and have those as a drop on an Xbox Game Pass release. Like if we get them with the next announcement, that would be huge. And people want more of those backwards compatibility ABK games coming out on Game Pass. Obviously, there's some things that get worked out, or maybe they're trying to spread them out a little bit here with how many that they do have. You know, they have the older Call of Duties. You have the games like Prototype and Prototype 2. Like, people would love to see that stuff. Tony Hawk games, like, when are those coming onto Xbox Game Pass? Lots of questions still to be answered there. But Transformers being relisted, hopefully that is a step that we are going to see going forward, where they eventually are going to start dropping those with a big backwards compatible release into the service, similar to what we did see with the Bethesda acquisition. We got a huge drop of Game Pass games, of backwards stuff that came out all at once. And I wonder if they'll do that, or if they'll just kind of drip feed us with the amount of games that they do have. Okay, let's jump over here. Let's talk some Capcom, because Capcom has made a acquisition. They made an acquisition of a production company named Minimum Studios, and it says here the Taiwanese-based studio was established in 2018 and specializes in animation production for game development. And Capcom announced today that it has now acquired 2/3 of the company's total issued shares, and the Minimum Studio is now a subsidiary of Capcom. It says Minimum Studio's strength lies in animation production for consumer home video game development, and the studio has carried out work on major Capcom titles in the past. And Capcom decided to make the studio a subsidiary company to sustainably bolster its developmental and technological capabilities, aiming to achieve its long-term management goal of 100 million units in annual sales. Going forward, Capcom will continue to explore the acquisition of necessary technological capabilities in order to enhance its game development organization. Capcom, honestly, with everything that has been happening in the gaming industry, with all of the negativity and the closures and the IP cancellations, they have kind of been the golden child here, where they are releasing banger after banger after banger, and they are not falling really prey to the shrinkage or the downturn of the gaming industry this year, at least in the AAA game space, where we've just seen a lot of negative news come out. And they're going out, they're making an acquisition, and they're continuing to produce awesome games. And we're going to see a ton more from them, as they did have a couple of interesting announcements here that will probably get people excited, because they have been wanting something from this franchise for a very long time. They wanted it back, and that is Dino Crisis. Now, this is just not an announcement of a game or anything. It's kind of just remembering when this game first did come out. They say July 1st is the release date of Dino Crisis, 1999 on the PlayStation. They acknowledge it, and this has people absolutely just losing their minds in the comments, because a lot of people want Capcom to bring this game back, and they're bringing other games back. Like, we are also getting the Dead Rising Deluxe Remaster Edition. We got that announcement last week, and now we officially know when it comes out and the pricing and everything, and what this game is going to include. So it says Dead Rising Deluxe Remaster, released on September 18th. And the gameplay of the original remains intact, but there are various quality of life improvements, such as auto-saving, revamped controls, improved UI, and many other details. The game is now also fully voiced for improved immersion, and it is going to cost $50 when it does come out. A very fun game, a very awesome franchise in Dead Rising. And then, of course, people still want a new Dino Crisis of some sort to come out. So we'll see if Capcom ever does deliver on any of that, the things that people have been wanting and asking for a very long time. But at least here they have acknowledged it and said, hey, we know you want this. We're going to kind of tease you here and talk about when this game first released, but we're not going to talk about anything new coming out. I feel like they will eventually bring this franchise back. Another game that was great back in the day, and they are bringing back, and I'm very excited about them bringing back, is Crazy Taxi. We saw that Sega is remaking a bunch of games in Unreal Engine 5, which I think looks phenomenal from the little screenshots and small video clips that we have seen. I think it's also just a great move. You'll have a lot of people jumping in and playing these games. But now we have more information here about Crazy Taxi and the style of game it is going to be. We've kind of heard these rumors, and now it's been confirmed that the next Crazy Taxi game is going to be an open world multiplayer game. It says, in a recent video published by Sega, the team working on the new Crazy Taxi game spoke about pivoting from a core single player experience to an online multiplayer game built around a vast open world environment. In the 7-minute breakdown, we were treated to glimpses of the developing title, which showcased several game modes, vehicles, and some energetic and punchy visuals. And it does look pretty cool. It says it was explained by the team that there have been some difficulties in pivoting from a single player experience to a live service multiplayer model, but they're making great leaps in the development process as we speak. So that is a big change. I mean, Crazy Taxi, an arcade single player game, a ton of fun. Of course, Sega is looking to take that, expand it out, and try to make more money off of the franchise, trying to make more money off of the game. So they're going live service. I mean, Sega kind of has been talking about this with their whole super game stuff. And if you remember that partnership announcement way back with Xbox and using their technologies and platform and stuff, and then making super game with Azure, and it's just all of these crazy little things that they want to do. An online multiplayer games as a service game for Crazy Taxi honestly does not surprise me, but it does make me seem a little bit skeptical here, or feel a little bit skeptical, I should say, about how good this is actually going to end up, because there's a lot you could do. I mean, they can make a really fun universe. They can make something that you always want to jump into and compete against other people, and maybe have some cool interactions if it is a live service online game, maybe an MMO of some sort. But I also just kind of want to see them bring back a new Crazy Taxi game with new graphics and expand it out and just have that fun arcade gameplay experience. If they can fit all that into an online living world, maybe an MMO or something, then yeah, sure, I will be good with that, and I will check it out. Either way, I hope it does end up turning out to be a fun game. All right, jumping over here, let's just talk about some more games being delisted. July 31st, 2024. If you are somebody who's playing Battlefield 3, Battlefield 4, or Battlefield Hardline, those games are going to be delisted from the Xbox Store ahead of the server closure later this year on November 7th, 2024. It's as if you've missed it. EA announced it was closing servers of multiple Xbox 360 Battlefield games later this year, and the online services for BF3, BF4, and BF Hardline closing November 7th, 2024. Ahead of the server closure, the publisher has now confirmed that all three of these games, along with the DLC packs, will be delisted from the Xbox Store on July 31st. And we did know this. We did know that this was going to be happening because they are not backwards compatible Xbox 360 games on your Xbox Series. So you really have no other means to play them other than on the Xbox 360. But with the online servers and everything going off, you can't play them anymore. You won't be able to access them, and that's the issue here. It says, while physical versions of these games do exist, their DLC is digital only, so make sure you grab any DLC packs you want before they're delisted and gone for good, because you can go out and buy the stuff before they do get delisted, but after July 31st, you're going to be out of luck for that digital only content. So if you're a fan of Battlefield, make sure to go check that stuff out. And then finally, Nintendo, the Nintendo Switch 2. We've been talking about this for a while. We still don't have an announcement. We're assuming it's coming out early next year. And one of the things that they want to do is they want to avoid the scalping of these consoles, which I think is a great thing to hear, because it's very annoying when a new console does come out and it's impossible to get. I mean, even if you remember from the beginning of this generation with the Xbox Series and the PlayStation 5, the amount of people that scalped them, and inventory took almost 2 years to get to a place where you could just walk into a store and pick them up. It was very, very annoying. And it looks like Nintendo wants to avoid that here with the Nintendo Switch 2. It says in a Q&A during a general meeting of shareholders, the company's execs were asked what measures they were taking place to stop reselling of its next console. Given that at last year's meeting, they said they were planning to do so. And the Nintendo president, Shintaro Furukawa, replied that the company's main plan for combating scalping is to make sure players don't have to turn to resellers, and said that that is their countermeasure against resale. They believe the most important thing is to produce a sufficient number of consoles to meet the customer demand. And of course, I hope that is actually what they end up doing. It does seem like the production issues that plagued the beginning of this generation with the PlayStation and the Xbox aren't going to be plaguing the Nintendo Switch, but it is also a very popular console. So they're going to have to produce a decent amount of those. I mean, they probably are trying to estimate how many people are going to run out and buy a Switch 2 on day one, how many people they're going to be able to transfer over from the current Nintendo Switch over to the Nintendo Switch 2. I mean, they're already still releasing a brand new Nintendo Switch Lite with the new Zelda game that is coming out. So there's going to be people that are buying the current Switch a few months before the Nintendo Switch 2 comes out. You're not going to get a lot of those people buying the Nintendo Switch 2 right away. So I wonder how many they're going to have to produce, though, to meet that demand. It will depend on price. It will depend on how big of an upgrade this is and what games are going to be launching with it. Maybe there will be something like Metroid Prime 4 there. But I will end the video there, guys. If you did enjoy this video, make sure to hit that thumbs up. If you're new here, hit that subscribe, and I'll catch you guys in the next video.